Good morning to all. My name is Dr. Yamani, working as Professor, Civil Department, Biker. Now we are going to discuss about estimation and costing, subject, specifications and tenders. The specifications and tenders covers type of specifications, what is specifications, general specifications, brief specifications, construction specifications, tender notices, corrigendum, the designing tender documents. It covers all details. Now we are going to discuss about the specifications and tenders in the upcoming slides. What is specifications? Specification is mostly needed to explain about the quality of works and how the supervisors will execute the work. The supervisor specifically carry out the work based on the specifications given. First, for constructing a building, the documents related to plan, sectional drawing, all will be given. The sectional drawings and foundation drawings will cover only brief specifications. Detailed specifications will not be given in the drawings. So specifications will be given as a separate document. Now we will see what is specifications. Specifications describes the nature and class of the work, the material to be used in the work, workmanship. What is workmanship to be executed? And the very important for execution of the work is these details, that is specifications of materials, men and materials, workmanship, etc. all should be given in detail in the specification documents. The cost of work depends much on the specifications. Specifications should be very clear and it should be very clearly written in the specification document. The specification is forming one of the document. What is the purpose of giving specifications? The cost of unit quantity of work is governed by the specifications only. Specification of work is required to describe the quality and quantity of different materials required for construction work. It is one of the essential contract documents, as I told already. This specifies the workmanship and methods of doing the work. Specification of a work serves as a guide to supervising staff of a contractor as well as to the owner to execute the work to their satisfactions. While fixing the specification itself, the materials what are all to be used for the construction activities is to be finalized. So in this specification, any change, automatically the cost of tender or cost of work will change automatically. So accordingly, that specification should be fixed initially. What are all the materials and what is the specifications we are going to use it, all should be mentioned in the beginning itself. Then the work is to be carried out according to specification only. The contractor is paid for the same what the work is to be carried out. Any change in specification changes the tender rate. The tender rate with specification of work is considered to be necessary. So without specifications, the tender, if a contractor is quoting, it is a baseless. It is incomplete and invalid document. So without specifications, how the work will be carried out? See, construction of a brickwork means how to construct. What is the mix ratio the contractor has to use? And what type of brick he has to use? And what is the cement mortar? Cement and ratio is what? All this to be mentioned in the documents. So once if it is mentioned, it is okay. Otherwise, if the specification is not mentioned, that document is itself it's waste, and how to carry out the work is the question. Specification is necessary to specify the equipment, tools, and plants to be engaged for the work. That is what type of construction equipments is required and what are the tools and plants used to be engaged by the contractor, all should be informed in the specification itself. The necessity of specification is to verify and check the strength of materials for a work involved in a project. So the necessity will give all the material requirements and strength also. So in general, the specification is more required to confirm the quality of work. Then factors which affecting the specifications. The factor on which specifications depends on is given below as: one is nature of work, strength of materials, availability of materials, quality of materials. What is nature of work? What the contractor has to do, how the work will be carried out. Suppose assume earthwork excavation, how the earthwork excavations will be made, and what is the nature of earth, if it is ordinary earth or if it is rock, all will become. Strength of materials, that is what type of material the contractor has to use. What type of material the contractor has to use and how much material he has to procure and what is the quantity required, all will be mentioned in the strength of material itself. Availability of materials. So based on the availability of materials in the nearby areas, this specification will be fixed. And the quality of material also is considered as one of the main important factors. Types of specifications. There is two types of specifications. One is general specifications, another one is detailed specifications. General specifications. In the general specifications, nature and class of works and names of materials that should be used are described. Only a brief description of each and every item is given. It is useful for estimating the project. The general specifications do not form a part of contract document because the general specifications will give only brief details. It is not giving elaborate details. So the document should be carries detailed specifications. That is why the general specifications may not form a part of document. Then detailed specifications. What is detailed specifications? Detailed specifications forming a part of contract document. This detailed specifications specifies the quality of works, quantities, and proportions of materials and method of preparation and the execution for a particular item of work in a project. That is, during building constructions, how to prepare a concrete mix for roof slab. So in this case, the specification has to explain what is the mix ratio, what type of aggregates used, what type of cement it was to use. All these details will be given in the specification itself. So without specifications and without clear specifications, the work could not be carried out as per the requirement of quality required by the owner. Detailed specifications. Detailed specifications of the different items of work are prepared separately, and they describe what the work should be and how they shall be executed. While writing the detailed specifications, the same order of sequence as the work is to be carried out is to be maintained. So the detailed specifications should be in the same order of sequence of work to be done at site. General specifications of a first-class building we can see now. What is general specification of first-class building? What are all the items it is covered? So all is coming in the slides. Foundation and plinth is the first item. The general specification of first-class building covers foundation and plinth, damp-proof course, superstructures, roofing, and other items. What is foundation and plinthing work? Foundation and plinth shall be carried out with first-class brickwork in cement mortar 1:6 ratio with or lime concrete 1:4 that ratio. Most of the days the lime concrete is not at all using, only cement mix 1:6 cement mortar is using. So we can use that cement mortar. That cement mortar should be 1:6 ratio that should be used, and damp-proof course should be The 2.5 centimeter thickness. This is prepared with the ratio 1:1.5:3 mix with 1 kg of imperma powder, that is waterproofing powder, to be added per bag of cement and other standard waterproofing materials as specified and painted with a 2 coat of bitumen. The damp proof course is to be provided in the over the plinth and below the superstructures. The thickness of the damp proof course is 2.5 centimeter. So after providing a rich mix of concrete of 2.5 centimeter thickness, we have to provide 2 coat of paint, that is bitumen, to be painted. So the purpose of damp proof course is to avoid the damp entry into superstructure from foundations. So that is why the imperma powder, that is waterproofing compound, is added. Superstructure. Superstructure shall be a first class brick with 1:6 cement mortar. Lintel overs and doors should be provided. The lintel should be RCC. The roof is RCC. Roof shall be RCC slab with an insulation layer and lime concrete terracing above, supported over RCC beam as required. Height of the room shall not be less than 3.7 meters. The roof should be RCC roof, reinforcement concrete roof. It may be of mix 1:3, or according to the necessity and requirement of the owner, it may be a design mix. Nowadays, M20 mix is used for slab, and over that roof slab, weathering course is to be provided. Then the height of the room should be, generally most of the building, residential building, 3 meters are providing. Even up to 3.7 meters, we can provide it. Then flooring, how to construct a floor. Drawing room and dining room floors shall be mosaic. Bathroom and water glass shall be of mosaic tiles or tiles, whatever we need. Floors of bedrooms shall be colored and polished cement concrete 2.5 centimeter and lime concrete over the lime concrete 7.5 centimeter. Floor shall be 2.5 centimeter cement concrete over 7.5 lime concrete is polished. See, these are all the specifications is given, but these floor specifications will be changed as required by the owner. See, nowadays, what is in practice for most of the rooms, everyone is willing to provide tiles. So if the owner needs, you have to change the tiles, automatically we have to change the tiles. There is no need to go for mosaic or and whatever what we are giving, color flooring, concrete flooring, etc. It's all depends on the requirements of owner. The contractor has to do the work as required by the owner, and the specification also fixed based on the requirement of owner of a building. Then finishing. Inside and outside walls will be of 12 mm thickness cement plastering with mix ratio 1:6. Inside and outside of wall, that is all the walls should be plastered properly with the 12 mm thickness cement mortar. Ratio is 1:6. Drawing, dining and bedrooms inside shall be distempered. Other inside whitewash 3 coats. Outside shall be colored snow some washed 2 coats over one of the whitewash. So first primary work to be carried out. So whitewashing is to be carried out as a prime coat. Then over that color washing will be carried out. Doors and windows. What are all the doors and windows? Which type of wood is to be preferred? And what is the thickness of the frames? All will be explained here. The chowkats shall be seasoned teak wood. Shuttering shall be teak wood of 4.3 meters thickness, 4.3 centimeter thickness. Sorry. And it may be partly classed as required. All fittings shall be brass doors and windows shall be varnished or painted with 2 coats of high-class enamel paints over 1 coat of priming. Windows shall be provided with iron grills. That iron grills also painted. All the doors and windows as required by the owner, it may be varnished or painted. Then what are all the miscellaneous works to be carried out? Rainwater pipes. It may be cast iron or PVC or asbestos. It should be provided. And if required, painting should be done in the rainwater harvesting pipes. Buildings shall be provided with first-class sanitary and water fittings and electrical installations. 1 meter wide, 7.5 centimeter thickness of cement concrete 1:3:6 ratio apron shall be provided all around the building. Provide dampness, water stagnations, etc. Then we will see about the specifications for brick masonry in cement mortar. The general specification of first-class building already discussed. Now we are going to discuss about the specifications for brick masonry in cement mortar. The bricks shall be of first-class bricks. It should be in a regular shape, size, and color. The bricks should be free from flaws and lumps of any kind. It shall have minimum crushing strength of 10.5 newtons per mm square. The bricks shall not absorb water more than 1/6 of the weight of the brick. These are all the general conditions. The bricks will be tested with this. The sand used shall be medium coarse, clean, sharp, free from clay, mica, and other organic matters. The cement used shall be satisfy the requirement of Bureau of Indian Standards. As per IS specifications, the cement should be procured. Bricks before laying shall be thoroughly soaked in water. So while laying the bricks, the surface should be finished. First of all, the surface should be leveled and the bricks should be soaked in the water to avoid the air entries in the bricks, and the bricks should be thoroughly immersed in the water. The excess, that is the air which is available in the material, to be removed. So for the purpose, the brick is soaked in the water well. The mortar is designated in specified portion of cement and sand. The materials are weighed or measured and mixed on watertight platform after allowing the bulkage of sand. See, in the previous slides, we told that what is the type of bricks we have to use, what is the compressive strength of brick should be, and how the sand should be, cement as per specifications, and how to use the brick before laying outside. It should be soaked in water. All these details we have seen. Now the mortar to be prepared, cement and sand mortar to be prepared. So this will be prepared in non-weight basis and mixed properly in a watertight platform. The bricks laid truly horizontal in course. The brickwork shall be raised 1 meter in height at a strength all round the building. During rains, no brickwork is carried out. The brickwork shall be kept wet at least 10 days to reach the strength. So next one is specifications for plain cement concrete. How to prepare plain cement concrete? What are the specifications should be observed? And what are the specifications to be provided in the document? All will be discussed in the coming slides. The material specifications. Specifications of plain cement concrete means cement, sand, and coarse aggregate. Aggregate shall be of invert materials and should be clean, dense, hard, sound, durable, non-absorbent, and capable of developing good bond with mortar. Coarse aggregate, it shall be of hard broken stone, of granite or similar stone, free from dust, dirt, and other foreign matters. The stone blades, the stone ballast shall be of 20 mm size or smaller, or according to the design mix or nominal mix, what it specifies and what is the size required, that has to be you have to procure. It may be 20 mm size or 12 mm size. All the coarse materials should be retained in 5 mm square mesh and should be well graded such that the voids do not exceed 42%. This coarse aggregate should be a hard broken stone of granite. Fine aggregate, it shall be coarse sand consisting of hard star and angular grains and shall pass through a screen of 5 mm square mesh. Sand shall be of standard specifications, clean and free from dust, dirt, and organic matter. Sea sand shall not be used for building construction purpose. Only river sand is used. Nowadays, M sand is in practice. Specifications for plain cement concrete, that is the remaining part. Cement, what type of cement we have to use, and water, all will be discussed. The cement shall be fresh Portland cement of standard specifications as per ISI. It have required tensile and compressive stress and fineness. Water shall be clean and free from alkaline and acid matters, and the water should be useful for drinking purpose. That type of standard is to be adhered. The water used for construction purpose. So almost drinking purpose water is suitable for construction purpose also. Proportion specifications. That is cement mix specification, cement, sand, and stone ballast. 1:4 is the ratio. 1 part is cement, 2 part is sand, 4 part is stone ballast. It is by volume when specified. Minimum compressive strength of concrete 1:4 proportion shall be 140 kg per centimeter square in 7 days. After 28 days, it should be 150 kg per centimeter square. It is M15 mix. So mixing, what type of mixing we are using? Hand mixing, machine mixing. Hand mixing shall be done on a masonry platform or seat iron tray or a seat iron tray. Machine mixing, stone ballast, sand and cement shall be put into cement concrete mixer to have the required proportions. So according to the proportions 1:4, 1 part of cement, 2 part of sand and 4 part of coarse aggregate should be put in the machine mixer to mix it properly to have required proportions. Then the concrete slump should be tested. Slump, what is slump? Regular slump test should be carried out to control the addition of water and to maintain the required consistency. A slump of 7.5 centimeter to 10 centimeter may be allowed for building construction works. Slump means we have to use slump cone to test this. The mixed concrete should be compacted in the slump cone. The slump cone size is 1 feet height, 10 centimeter diameter, and another end is 20 centimeter diameter. The concrete which we prepared is properly compacted and filled in the slump cone. Then the cone should be removed. Then how much it's down, it slides, that should be measured. That is called slump. That is permissible limit is 7.5 centimeter to 10 centimeter for this building construction work. Farm work. Centering and shuttering shall be provided as required as per the standard specifications before laying concrete to confine, to support, or to keep the concrete in positions. The inner surface of shuttering shall be oiled to prevent concrete sticking to it. So the formwork should be checked before laying concrete. It should be properly provided. The formwork, that is centering and shuttering, it should be of required specifications because it has to carry all the weight of concrete. Then before laying, oil should be provided for the surface, not to sticking. The laying techniques, how to lay the concrete. The concrete should be laid gently, it should not be thrown. If it is thrown, segregation will be occur. So the concrete should be laid in layers not exceeding 50 centimeters and compacted by pinning with rods and tamping with wooden tampers or with mechanical vibrating machines until a dense concrete is obtained. So the concrete should be laid gently and it should be compacted, and the vibrator is provided to vibrate the concrete and have proper laying. The vibrator also mentioned the size of needle and all. According to the thickness of the concrete, the vibrator needle size also will change. Curing method. After about 2 hours of laying concrete, when the concrete has begun to harden, it shall be kept damp by covering with wet cunny bags or wet sand for 24 hours. Curing is must to attain the strength of concrete. So minimum 14 days curing should be done, and if required 21 days also to be extended for slab. So with that, the specification is over. It is how to prepare specifications for plain concrete 1 to 4 mix we have seen already. Now we will discuss about tenders. What is tender? It is an invitation from the owner to the contractor to execute some work at specified cost in specified time. It is published in the form of tender notice in newspapers, notice boards, gazettes, etc., according to the cost of works. So tender it is a formal offer between the owner to contractor with some specified terms and conditions. Open tender, sealed tender, two types. What is open tender? A oral talk or written document between the engineer and the contractor for certain small jobs to be performed. Sometimes it is also advertised. Sealed tender, it is invited for important or huge projects. Wide publicity is given for these huge projects. Always written documents are made. Tender form. Tender form is printed in the standard format, giving standard conditions of contract, general rules, and guidance of contract. There is also a memorandum for giving general description of work, estimate cost, earnest money deposit, security deposit, time limit in months or years, column for signature of contract before submission of tenders, signature of witness to contractor signatures, and signature of the officer by whom accepted. That is, the tender form should carry all these details. First of all, it has to carry the description of works, cost of estimate, EMD, how much the contractor has to enclose, security deposit, how much the contractor has to provide. All this detail will be mentioned in the tender form. The price of the tender form is also given in the form itself. The contractor has to purchase the tender form after paying the tender document price, either in the department or in the private company. Tender documents consisting what are all the items the tender document consists? Notice inviting tender is the most essential. It's a standard approved form of department is available. Schedule of quantities of work to be done and the material to be procured and plans to be supplied by the department, if any. Complete specification of work. One set of approved drawings were necessary. All the documents are signed by the contractor, page by page, forwarding letterhead of a contractor with blank or other form of earnest money are put in closed cover. That is, the tender document should consist all the signed documents with EMD. EMD is most necessary. Earnest money deposit. EMD is earnest money deposit. It may be the maximum 1% of contract value. The contractor has to enclose the EMD cover with the document itself. And without EMD cover, the tender may not be considered for processing. So that comes under terms and conditions. Then the cover is closed and dropped on the tender box within the time limit for tender. So the tender document should be prepared and should be submitted to the department in time. The name of the work and name of the contractor are mentioned in the cover at the time of submission of tender documents. Okay, what is notice inviting tenders? Notice inviting tenders, it is a notice. It carries all details. That is, who is the owner of the contract? That is, if it is material, who is the procuring entity? Then the name of the scheme or project, the date at which the places from where the tender documents can be obtained, the amount of EMD payable, the last date and time of receipt of tenders, pre-bid meeting date, time and venue, the date, time and place of opening tenders, then any other informations the tender inviting authority considered as relevant. All these details will mention in the notice inviting tender itself. So the notice inviting tenders is having all the details about the projects, cost, submission time of tender submission time, tender opening time, then other related details, whatever the tender inviting authority is considered as relevant. This notice inviting tender is to be published according to the value. If it carries, the work carries value less than 25 lakhs, it should be the tender notice inviting tenders, that is NIT, should be placed in the notice board itself for the department or private company. Then, according to the cost of work, it should be published in the newspaper and tender bulletins. So the tender bulletin is publishing every Thursday, and trade journal is also publishing. So according to the value of the tender, we have to publish either in the state tender bulletin or in the trade journal. Then newspaper also. Technical specifications in the tender documents. So the tender document carries the specifications as one of the document. Technical specifications should be fixed in a proper manner. It should be unbiased. Technical specifications should be unbiased. Brand names and catalog numbers shall be avoided. Brand name or equivalent shall be used. Indian standards with the numbers shall be incorporated. That is, IS numbers should be incorporated. Detailed estimates shall be prepared by the competent technical authorities based on the schedule of rates and standard data as revised from type to type. Schedule of rate is available every year. The newly prepared schedule of rate data is to be used for preparing the estimates. Then after publishing the notice inviting tenders, that is NIT, any changes to be made in the NIT. Suppose the contract period provided is 18 months, assume. If the department wants to change the contract period, they have to change. Then if the contractor is not able to submit the tender within the time limit, if the contractor requires extension of time of opening tender, that also to be informed through college and notice. So the corrigendum notice is a notice either to add or update the values of some of the items in a notice that is published earlier. So the corrigendum notice does not have template and it cannot be cloned. It must be used to make corrections or amendments in the existing contract notice that are published in the newspapers. So any corrections in the notice inviting tender or any amendments, subsequent amendments, or any corrections or any extension of date of opening tenders, everything will be published like in NIT in the form of corrigendum notice. So the corrigendum notice is most required if any changes is to be made in the already carrying NIT. Drafting model tenders. How to draft the tenders? The tender, it makes an offer for the supply of goods or services. Tender documents are prepared to seek offers. Tender documents may be prepared for a range of contracts such as equipment supply, main construction contracts, demolishing any old buildings or old works, enabling works, etc. For all these details, tender documents can be prepared. Drafting model tenders. See, these tender documents includes the following sections. One is instruction sheet, then section A, section B, section C, section D. Section A carries tender conditions. Invitation to tender and tender conditions is section A. That is information to contractors, information to bidders, tender conditions, conditions of contracts, all will be in the section A. It is a forming part of section A. Then section B, general conditions of contract, special conditions of contracts, all will be in section B. Section B is a separate one. Section C, it carries technical specifications and drawings. The section C carries all the specifications. The already given drawings, detailed specifications may not be. So separate specifications document should be prepared and drawing also to be attached in the section C. Section D, format for submission of bid, then e-bids, etc. All will come. Then bill of quantity is also to be furnished in this model tender itself. Writing tenders. How to write the tender and submit. Tips for writing a successful tender response. Use the templates or formats provided. Structure your tender document clearly. Provide all relevant details. Address the selection criteria. Choose the right referees. Proofread your tender, then submit your tender in time. That is, after preparing the model tenders, we have to see all these details. The tender formats, specifications, then the material selection, all the selection criteria, then checking the tenders before submission, then finally it has to submit. So this is within the time of submission of tenders, a tender document should be prepared and submitted. Procedure for settlement of tenders. How to settle tenders after receiving tenders. So in the NIT, the date was given to submit the tenders. So after submission of tender, that tender should be opened. At the time of opening the tender, what are all the procedures to be followed? So first we have to see EMD cover, fixing of fairness money. Procedure for settlement of tenders is more important. Disputes should not arise at the time of settlement of tenders. So EMD should be checked. It should be available. Qualification criteria should be available in the tender. Notice inviting tender, opening of tender, procedure for evaluation of tenders and acceptance of tenders, preparation of preliminary evaluation report, scrutiny by tender scrutiny committee, and furnishing observations. These are all the things we have to see. for settling the tenders. That is, first we have to see the EMD. After fixing the EMD, that the EMD should be attached as in the cover itself, as a separate cover in the document itself. That we have to see. Then qualification criteria, we have to check. NIT, notice inviting tender, we have to see. Then after receiving the tenders, we have to open the tender. Opening of tender procedures, that is, all the contractor has to be available at the time of opening. In the time of opening was already mentioned, tender opening time was already mentioned, the NIT. At the time, the tender authority has to open the tender, and they have to read, and they have to number the tenders, and they have to inform to all the tenderers. Then that should be evaluated. All the tenders should be numbered. Evaluation process is to be carried out. That at the time of evaluation, we have to see all the arithmetical corrections and quantity, total value of tenders, and everything to be checked. Arithmetical calculations and items of work also to be checked. After that, that has to be placed before the competent authority for approval. After acceptance of tenders, that work should be awarded. That is work. So before awarding the work, we have to evaluate the tenders. Preliminary evaluation report is first prepared. Then that should be scrutinized by tender scrutiny committee and furnishing for observations. So scrutiny by tender scrutiny committee is more important. They have to verify the evaluation report, and any corrections they will inform. That has to be corrected further. Then the evaluation report should be placed to the before the competent authority for technical responsiveness and opening the price bid. If the authority is approving the technical responsiveness, then we have to go for opening the price bids. Price bid should be opened. Then the price should be read in front of all the contractors. The contractor has to note the price, and that also mediated, and they have to inform the prices of the tenders what they have received, what the authority received. Then again, this price bids, after opening the price bid, that should be compared. Then the comparison, who is alone tenderer, that should be declared after getting approval from competent authority. Then after alone contractor is finalized, the work should be awarded. After awarding the work, contract agreement to be executed. Then the tender approval authority decides the quoted rate is higher rate than the schedule of rate or market rate. Then they may reject, or they can call for negotiations to fix the contract price. So these are all the procedures is followed for calling tenders and awarding the work, evaluation of tenders, comparison of prices, and comparison of price with schedule of rates and all items. Then that rate should be accepted by contractor, accepted by the approval authorities. The work should be awarded. So with that, these specifications and tenders, I think it is over. The book which I am referring for this topic, specifications tender, is given data, estimation and costing in civil engineering, and other books as mentioned here. Thank you.